Okay, so once again, welcome to Dynamic 365 function consultant training. I would imagine that you have done some sort of research before attending the training, or to just get a better sense of what that training entails. It's a Microsoft business application training, and obviously the MB210 there is referring to the actual examination code. So the plan of this is that we're able to cover enough training within the next 6 weeks or so, and to prepare you to be able to pass that exam. So just a little bit about myself. I'm David Ollie, and I've been working in IT for over 10 plus years. I'm an architect, enterprise architect with AnySkills Inc., which is a company that does everything cloud services, Dynamic 365s, and so on and so forth. I'm certified Dynamic 365 customer engagement and platform solution architect. So that means I've got breadth of experience of when it comes to Dynamic 365 business applications, as well as your platform solution. I started writing tech blogs and infamously I'm becoming a YouTuber, so I'm putting out a lot of videos around training within the platform, the platform and Dynamics 365 applications or solutions, if you like. If you want to get in touch, if you haven't already, you could go and contact me or connect with me on LinkedIn, David M. Ollie. And Power, if you want to get in touch via, I haven't put a lot of stuff recently in my Twitter account, but yeah, if you want to connect via Twitter as well, I think you could do that way. You can get in touch. I think I'm going to just because this seems the PowerPoint seems to be playing from Teams. So if you just bear with me a second while I try and fix this. One moment. It's taking time to load. Just sharing again. Just let me know if you can see my screen again.
Yes.
Fantastic. Okay, so just I've told you a bit about myself, and I've got a slide here that just talks about you guys, and just wanted to give you a good sense of who's part of the training. I think the time mixed up again might have stopped me from joining, but we've got about 31 persons registered for this training, and most people are have indicated that they will be able to make the meetings. But you can see that you've got different people from different part of the world. Got someone joining from Abuja, which is Nigeria. Got someone joining from Kanataka. You got Ontario, Canada. You got the United Kingdom. Majority of people, obviously, joining are from the United Kingdom. You've got Amsterdam, and you've got Maharashtra. I hope I'm saying that properly. And I did ask the question, what level of knowledge or experience you kind of have when it comes to Dynamics 365 functional consultant training. And a lot of people are novice. You've got people who are intermediate, which means you've got a bit of experience with your sales application, and you've got folks that got advanced experience, and then of course we've got the I do not know where I'm at. So that's kind of the experience. So bear with me if I'm taking a bit more time to get to something that you'll feel exciting, whilst others are learning as we go through the training. Right, I did ask as well that what specific topics or skills you're hoping to learn, and there are varied responses: sales capabilities, Power Apps, revenue, new features, sales module, sales accelerator, sales functional, box sales, customer insights, sales platform. So there's a lot of stuff there, and the plan really is to touch a little bit of all of this elements being mentioned that's related or in scope of the training. And the other thing I asked was, how do you expect the customer service training to benefit you in your role or career? And a lot of people are saying that they want better knowledge of the application, I think, in general, and the functionality, and the ability to customize and to design it. I think that's the core response there. And also, how did you hear about us? There's a lot of people indicated, a lot of you guys indicated that you essentially got it via ad and promotion, which I would imagine is largely LinkedIn. You've got a friend, which is like the biggest, so there's a lot of recommendation here, which is fantastic. It means you're looking after your friends. Amazing. Yes, and you got Google search, which is also brilliant. Right, so quick glance at the agenda for the next 6 weeks, and it covers, if you look at the MB210 exam content, it covers quite a bit. You can see there we've got the today we're going to be talking about introduction to Dynamics 365, but if you can see in the email that was sent to yourself, I've sort of splitted the training into different parts. So the whole idea is that everyone, you're aware of, how the module is supposed to be essentially delivered. So you're able to set your expectation. If you are someone who is advanced, you might, although we want everyone to still be part of, because it might be something new that you'll be learning. But if you look at the core deliverables that you're expected to learn as part of the module, MB210 is configuring the user interface of the sales application, so configuring the sales settings, also configuring the processes, and you can see the list goes on. Configuring sales accelerator, so one of the things that you guys have indicated you want to learn. Evaluating sales licensing, something we're going to touch base on today, and we're going to expand more later on. Managing core sales tables, you understand what those are later on, and then also create and manage your quotes and how you can do that. And also creating and managing forecasts, creating and managing products. So please look at the email that you will send. You will see the training agenda for week 1 all the way to week 7, which really week 7 summarizes week 7 summarizes, I think we might extend, just because, I've got there week 7, but the whole idea is that we're able to pick this up quicker than we're able to pick it up quicker than and finish it off earlier, and then we just give more time for questions and stuff. Yeah. Sorry, if just bear with me. I think we have people waiting to be admitted. Wait a second. So I'm actually at a hotel at the moment because I'm actually attending a conference, so I'm not with my second screen. So you're gonna have to bear with me once again. I thought someone was waiting in the lobby. Okay, apparently not. Right, so what I would suggest, of course, is that you go on Google. See if I've got Google open. If not, yeah, go on Google. Yeah, sorry. If you don't mind muting yourself, I should come in. Thank you. So if you go to Google and just do, Dynamic 365 MD-210 exam guide, that will normally just take you, you can see you've got the sales. You can click on the first one there. You can see it's got exam MB210 Microsoft Dynamics 365 Sales Functional Consultant. What you're looking for is this one right here, right? And this is where you will find a study guide. And when you click into it, it basically shows you, if you just scroll down, you can see that it's telling you at a high level that this is how you are going to be tested. Your ability to configure the Dynamics 365 sales will take about 35 to 40%. The management of the core sales table will take about 40 to 45%. The configuring of these additional tools and services will take relatively about the same. We'll take obviously lesser percentage, which is between 10 and 10 to 15%. So sorry, 1 second again, please. When you come in, if you wouldn't mind just muting your microphone, thank you. Right, so that is generally the summary. I've just put it a high level description here to shows what are those core elements as well. But do go through them and familiarize yourself. Obviously, we will be going through them, going through the actual manual, and understand what is required. So if I just touch briefly on those really quickly, I think realistically the best way to really show you how, what. Apologies if I'm looking that way. I've just got the other screen I'm using to add more people. Yeah. So do we have any questions so far? Because what you're going to be learning, it's very, very detailed, and we will go through each individual components that I've just highlighted here. Configuring the user interfaces, configuring the sales settings, which certain configurations that you need to be aware of and know how to do them and know what the impact is to your application. Yep. Sorry, 1 second. It's a lot. Here we have more. Right. So thanks a lot. Thanks again for joining, guys. Please, as you come in, do meet yourself. The rules is when if you have a question, please raise your hand using the raising hand icon, and you'll be able to ask your questions. Right. So let's continue, shall we? So let's talk a little bit about, just give a little overview of Dynamics 365 sales. Now, if you've never heard of Dynamics 365 sales, which is quite a bit of you, Dynamics 365 sales business application or modules, if you like, essentially is an automation and customer relationship management application by Microsoft. What that means is, it gives the user, the sales agent, the ability, the sales representative, the ability to actually automate a lot of their sales processes, and be able to manage the customer relationship in the same application. And what the Microsoft aims that this application help customers, their customers, who using this, so the sales teams, for example, to be able to streamline their process, obviously use some of the best, best practices, follow, best, industries, standard sales processes, and ultimately drive customer engagement, so that obviously they can make more money, make more profit. Some of the key features of Dynamics 365 include lead management. And if you don't know what that means, basically means that, there's someone who is a prospect, a contact, but the person is more than a contact, which means that the person is more than just the name that we have of them. They actually are potential customers to us, and then we want to be able to, manage the interaction we have with them at that level of engagement. So that's what we mean by lead management, which means, asking questions about, the kind of product that they might be interested in, engaging, communicating with them via emails, that sort of stuff. So I would, that's what that's essentially entailing. We'll see what that looks like when we get into learning this coming weekend. Then you've got the opportunity tracking, which is you're able to look at opportunities that are hot, if you like. This is a brilliant opportunity. What can we do to we've got this person, this is the amount of money that potentially we can make from them, right? How can we make sure that we maximize that conversation, maximize that opportunity, so that we can actually close it out and as wins for the company, right? That's some things you'll be learning. Of course, sales forecasting, leveraging the AI capabilities. You're able to then begin to look at, okay, this is how much we made last year, or this is how much we're making, and this is how much, based on this information, this data that we're looking at, we should be able to make in the next quarter, the next year or so. And ultimately, Dynamics 365 is a native application of Microsoft, and it actually then natively have seamless integrations with other Microsoft 365 services, which is fantastic, because what that means is that you are able to integrate your Dynamics 365 application data with other Microsoft Dynamics 365 data, customer insights, applications, and things of that nature. You might not know a lot of the things I'm talking about now, but as you grow in this Microsoft Dynamics, learning in a platform, it all become more business applications. It all becomes or Dynamics 365 modules. It will become much clearer. But just think of it as, you're able to integrate this application to other applications within Dynamics, and even other third-party application, because of the integration capabilities that Microsoft has as integrated with Dynamics 365 as an application. Right. So you know, if a company sales team leverages Dynamics 365's, the whole idea is that they are able to get deeper insight into the customer behavior, improve collaborations, as I've said before, and be able to make data-driven decision that drives ultimately the money revenue growth in the company. Now, how does it actually support a sales team? The way it does that is it provides them with the tools that they need. As I've said before, tools for them to be able to manage the leads, manage the opportunity, customer interactions, real-time access to customer data. They've got that. They can see all the all the activities that they all the engagement with the customer, and that can help them to then visualize this in a way that they can help to provide a personalized approach to each customer, right? Also, it provides them with insight. So you've got AI built or AI driven insights within your sales application, particularly around your sales dashboards, reporting capability. You can also leverage some of the AI features, some of the newer features that allow you to begin to have predictive model integrated within your solution, so you can begin to identify again, opportunities that are hardcore, begin to use scoring model to help you drive insight into your business as well. We'll get deeper into those later on. Right. So to talk a little bit about the sales process and the customer journey, of course, the sales process is just those different stages that represents, that the sales representative go through in converting a leads into an opportunity and closing it out as one, right? So converting a leads who's a potential customer into an actual customer, and it includes lead generation, which is how do we generate leads? How do we actually get leads? How do we know who? What are the tools that we can use to bring people that are potential money-making machine for the company, for us, right? And then obviously qualify the lead to say, oh, this lead is fantastic. We're going to make a lot of money from this lead, and then convert that into real potential opportunity, and then obviously closing the deal, right? So it's the sort of thing that the sales representative would normally typically go through in their day-to-day job. Now, each stage is crucial because you're talking about moving potential customers closer to closing in and making and cashing out, right? For the company, of course. So salesperson must be able to navigate that process in a way that drives the kind of conversion that the company needs in terms of growing their profit, right, and revenue. Now, as the sales representative engage the customer, there will be interactions at different points, such as making calls, having discovery meetings, product demonstrations, negotiations, after sales support, and you want to be able to have a sales application or customer relationship management application that helps to actually track and manage that process as well. That's what Dynamics 365 brings sales, customer engagement application brings to the table. Customer interactions obviously play a important role in building that trust and that relationship that is needed to be able to then deliver the result that you want. And you want to be able to then be able to map that customer journey in real time into visible results, right? So you got the entire customer journey, which is the entire process, as I mentioned before, and what you want to do then is be able to identify those touch points, tailor the approach to meet the customer at every stage, right? You want the tool that will allow you to do that. And ultimately aligning the sales process with the customer journey. What it means is that it ensures that, again, you get to the point where everything is smooth conversation with the lead, then becomes eventually a customer, and ultimately end up with a satisfied customer, and which ultimately can obviously then refer you to other potential leads, which can also become potential customers, right? Right. So the first thing to important thing to first know as a business person, or as a consultant, is if you're brought to a job and you are a Dynamic 365 sales consultant, right? You need to, and then the company's like, hey, we don't know, we've heard about this Dynamic 365 thing, and we don't know if it's gonna be good for us, right? The first thing a company is always thinking about is, do I have the money to be able to to take care of this? Do I have the money to pay for this service, which I can then use in my company? So we're taking a bit of look at the Dynamics 365 sales licensing, right? Obviously Dynamics 365 sales offers different licensing options. And the reason, of course, is to help businesses to be able to cut the how they say the quotes according to their sizes. So you've got the sales professional. The licensing options, enables users, right, who have the license, or users who are who have the license to be able to do this sort of thing. To customize and configure the application. So in this case, the first one, there's a sales professional, and it's designated for like smaller teams and organizations with basic requirements. So like, lead and opportunity management, as I mentioned before, email integration, sales analytics, and mobile application access. So, being able to access the mobile application on the sales mobile application from the phone. And then you've got the sales enterprise, which is essentially suitable for larger teams and organizations with more advanced, sales processes and reporting needs. So if your organization needs more sales processes and reporting needs, then that licensing will be highly suitable for them. And that also gives you the ability for lead scoring, as I've hinted previously. So lead scoring, territory management. You've got more ability to manage, on a high level, your territory information, right? Of course, you have your business territory information. And of course, you have sales forecasting as well, which is part of the features that you can leverage. We'll obviously go into that later on. And then customizing dashboards, and service level agreement, which are SLAs. Again, we'll talk about those. Probably not in great detail, because the SLAs, really, if you want that, it's more for the customer service module that we go deeper into that one. And of course, you've got the sales premium, which it's a comprehensive solution for organization, and it requires additional customer insight analytics. The customer that requires additional insight, analytics, customization, assets, and things of that nature. And you can also access the Microsoft Relationship Sales, which includes your linked sales. I talked earlier on about lead generation. This is part of the lead generation capabilities, where you have your linked sales navigator integration, where you can actually install this application in your. You can install the application in your environment, and you can leverage generating leads directly from LinkedIn. And we're going to go into a bit more details in that, of course, advanced analytics and Power Automate capabilities, right? Now, if you look at the pricing, you see that the Dynamic 365 Professional cost is about £53.40. I don't know what it would translate for the other currencies in your country, but typically what you're looking at is £53 per user per month, right? And then for the sales enterprise is £78 point obviously at the point this presentation was being created, that is the figure that might have changed. If you're looking at the sales premium, that's £111 per user per month. They're not particularly cheap. Of course, you've got the relationship, Microsoft relationship sales as well, which includes the Dynamics 365 Sales Enterprise plus the LinkedIn Sales Navigator Enterprise. And you've got the Microsoft Viva Sales as well, which have quite some additional bit. But obviously, most people, most organizations, go for one of the first three, and then they consider the others as add-ons, essentially. Right. If you do a bit of comparison, you can see on a detailed comparison, sales execution, Microsoft 365 integration, that integration capabilities with other Microsoft services. You can see that the professional has it up until you get to the LinkedIn Sales Navigator, which both the Sales Enterprise and the Sales Premium do not have. Only the relationship sales application a license really covers that. So what I mean, and obviously has a bit more insight in the sales accelerator, as well as the conversational intelligence, how you actually create that and configure that. We'll cover those later on. Right. So what is the use case then for a team license? Team license I didn't mention, but what is a team license? A team license is essentially ideal. So we talked about those other licensing, but organization can have team licenses where they have users that would generally just, maybe they have a certain amount of 1 or 2 or 3, professional enterprise license, because it's a bit expensive, but they just want other users to be able to have access to them, right? To have access to also to the sales applications, but only on read-only access mode and minimal sales functionality. There will be certain tables and stuff, or records that the users with Teams members are still able to create or edit or do, or essentially work on. But generally speaking, it's a read-only access and minimal functionality. So that is, you could say, that's the cost-effective options for users, and it's generally cheaper than the rest of the other application. Usually you obviously speak to Microsoft to get a good sense if the organization is working. They will have a conversation with Microsoft and strike a deal on what the best approach would be. So for customer engagement applications, if you don't know what customer engagement application is, customer engagement application essentially is a suite of modules or applications or apps, if you like, that are part of the Microsoft Business Applications offering. So we're talking today about Dynamics 365 sales. We talked about managing your leads, managing your opportunity, your sales process, and then of course you have the customer service, which I alluded to earlier on when I was talking about the sales and the SLAs, right? Agreement. And then you've got Dynamics 365 Field Service, which deals with field service. Field service being, you have organizations who actually go on site, for example, to maybe inspect a plant, inspect a site, those kind of things, like you will be the kind of application that that will be suitable for companies like that have persons, technicians, whatever you want to call them. It's got boots on the ground. They're going out and doing things. Of course, you have the marketing, which deals with marketing, leveraging, creating your customer journey and creating marketing campaigns and things like that that's suitable for your organization. Of course, you have the project service, deals with project management, and so that's the suits of the customer engagement application. Dynamics 365, of course, stand stand in there somewhere, right? You know, that's the sort of thing that and you need to understand that, you know, it's a standalone application, but also has ecosystem of all their applications that's part of the customer engagement application, right? So I would go straight into you know, getting started on, you know, for you to get started, you can just go to you know, learn.microsoft.com / you know, ian-us/dynamic365/sales/sign up for sales trial. And when you do that, what it does is it then opens up this email, as you can see. If I could get this up, there we go. It just open up this email. Sorry, I said email. It open up this page for you. It's actually a pop-up. It will, you know, it does, and then all you have to do is put your business or office account email here, and follow through the rest of the instructions, and you are on your way to getting started. You know, getting the Dynamics 365 application you know, installed in your environment. Now, when I say environment, that may not make, oh, someone has a question. Sorry, Imran. Imran, can you unmute yourself and ask the question?
Yeah, sorry to jump in, David. Hope you don't mind. It was just relating to where you said if you need a school or a business email address. What if you don't currently have one? How would you get around that?
Yeah. So that's a good question. So there are sites. So if I just let me a second, sorry, back up and do that. There are some sites. I'm just copying this now and showing you how that would look like. So if you go in there and just put that there, you would see that it would sign up for sales. And typically, if you haven't got a business account, what you will need to do, this is the sales overview. What you need to do, you know, you can try it for free here, and that brings you right here. Now, it has to be a, you know, it has to be a Microsoft. So if I were to come and say Yahoo free, so normally it requires a home. Right, so see, it's not allowing me to go through because it just recognizes that that's not proper Office email. Now, what some people do is they go for and they look for a temp email, right? Now, if you go to a temp email, there are quite a few of them, just for the purpose of you know. So if I were to just purpose of training, really, till the point you get it. So you can see here, you've got one that's automatically generated. Yeah, so it's, you know, temporary email ready. So if I were to click on this now, if I were to click on this now, next update here, yeah. So if you click on it, it automatically copies, and I come back to try it for free. It would then just go form. But again, you would normally have to, sorry, the email you cannot be connected. Right, so I think sometimes Microsoft has gotten smarter with this temp email. They've kind of recognized them as not a valid email. So I would say, I mean, what I would say that you could leverage to see if there's anything other emails we could use here. You could look around and find one that works for you. If you need support doing that, then give me a shout, and I'll be able to look around. And you got one here. But normally you have to obviously register as well with Microsoft. So just close this. So if you register with, I think the reason why I'm saying that is the email you cannot be connected to Microsoft service. You know, if I put my normal email there, normal Gmail account there, it just wouldn't allow me to do. You can, I believe, you can actually go and look for. You can register with your normal email and register for a developer account, right? So, developer. If you type developer account, right? You see that create developer account, sign up. So you can actually create a developer account if you haven't got one. So, you know, we offer individual company account. So it's not what we're looking for. It's a free developer account. Free Microsoft developer account. But before you do that, you would have, there you go, developer program. I think it's this one. Right, so you can join developer program, and it would normally ask you to, if you're already, if you've already registered. So I've already registered using my account, hence why it's not showing me anything. Yeah. But if you're not, if you're having, the first thing you have to do is register that your email as a Microsoft account. So as a an Office account, for example. So if you go and you create Outlook email. Yeah, so you create one, you create your Outlook email, and then you include your Gmail and whatever the account is. And then when you're done with that, you now go to what I was showing earlier on, which is clicking on the developers program, and that would typically take you to how you can get. You can see this. It's actually free tutorials on how to get those to join the getting access to the developers account. See, join developers. So I'll leave this in the chat, so you guys could access it. So remember, you have to first register your email, your normal email with the Microsoft. And then when you click on the, should still be able to create the account, I think, using the template. Yeah. But if you have any problem doing that, give me a shout. I can easily set you guys up on our platform here on the Any Skills platform. Set you set up an email for you for training purposes. Yeah. And then when you pass your exams, I can remove that. Yeah. But we'll take this off so we don't. We can take that. We can. Don't want to overshoot our time. We probably are going to do that a little bit. Right. Okay. Let's continue then. So that's the trial basically. You get your, you put your email. It's very straightforward. Once you already have the application, the environment set up, and then the application gets deployed to what we refer to as an environment. But before I go into that, I want to just explain to you how the Dynamics 365 sales actually, how does that relate with the Power Platform? I did allude it earlier on to the Power Platform as part of the Echo system or system of the application of Dynamics 365 that supports Dynamics 365 application, right? The one thing I haven't mentioned was is Dataverse. But let's start with Power Platform, right? What Power Platform does, if you see right here, it's a low-code platform that allows the spans across, like, Microsoft 365, Dynamics 365, Azure, standalone applications. It allows a pro dev or a citizen dev, right? Citizen dev means, someone who is not like super great at code and all that kind of stuff. They're pretty good at what we refer to as low code, which means not doing a lot of code, but a lot of drag and drops and things of that nature, right? So the platform enables users to be able to create and automate business solutions like, the Power Apps, like Power Applications is Microsoft type of application that the Microsoft has termed a Power Apps, which are essentially just applications that you'll deploy to your web-facing client or web-facing essentially. Also allows you to create workflows and automations. So if you're creating a unique workflows automation for your sales process, boom, you're going to be able to do that. And how does it do that? It gives you the different tools, different service like the Power Automate, which is exclusively for automating those business processes. Power Virtual Agent, which is a bot that you can actually configure. Also, it's not part of this conversation, but it's good for you to understand, again, the ecosystem that surrounds Dynamics 365 and what are the potential automation capabilities there. And also, rather than throwing you into Dynamics 365, it's better for you to get a good sense of how these little pieces work together. So you can see here, Power Apps, which is for app development, right? So you can build your own custom sales application, right? You can also create automated you can automate your workflows as well. And you can also have bots that actually interact with your Dynamics 365 sales application. So it's not just a standalone thing. Now, all of these six, it's what you would typically leverage as part of your as part of your flow, if you like. Building Power Application, potentially creating and automating workflows. Those are the sort of thing you'll be doing. Now, I mentioned Dataverse earlier on. Dataverse is essentially the component that it's part of the platform, and it is the service where all of the data that stores all your data and manages all your data of the different applications, right? And it's also service for retrieving data and performing all manner of data transactions. So it's not just a database, as some people think about it. It's actually more than that. It's service, right? And what it offers is a secure and scalable environment, which I alluded earlier on. Secure and scalable environments, and that environment is where your Dynamics 365 business application is being stored, as well as your data, and all your integration capabilities and your all this configurations and everything is stored in that as well. And of course, you have your Dynamics 365 Sales, which is one of the customer engagement application, as I mentioned before, that uses the Dataverse to store and manage its customer data. So it's important you understand that, right? You've got your Dataverse environment, which stores all of your Dynamics 365 data, customer data, and configurations and things of that nature. It's important to understand that, and understand that the platform and even the excuse me, the sales Dynamics 365 application is a type of the Power Apps. Okay, so if it's deployed as a Power Application, we'll see that later on. Right now, what are the different types of Power Apps? Which it's a good segue from talking about the Power Apps earlier. We say the Dynamics 365 Sales is also a type of Power Apps, but Microsoft Power Apps are divided into three types, right? First is the Canvas application. The second is the model-driven application, which is what the Dynamics 365 Sales application is. which is what the Dynamics 365 application is. Sorry, just adding someone into the meeting. And of course, you've got the portal pages, which is more of a web-based Power application. So it's not like a app looking or standalone app looking application, just like the other one. They're all web-based, but this is something that is it's somewhat standalone. It does have integration capability within Dynamics 365, but it's typically for external users, right? So you build your Power Portal really for external users, external customers, external, business to business clients, that sort of stuff. That's what you use your portal for. Model-driven applications usually for in-house users, sales teams and that sort of stuff. And then you've got Canvas application. They all have different 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 with the Canvas application, for example, you have flexibility in terms of customizing the application look and feel, how the application looks like, and that sort of stuff to the very, very, very detail. Model-driven application has consistent look and feel all across, right? So you have room to do some customization stuff, but you cannot change the the consistency of the general look and feel, right? It's all the same look and feel. It's all the same. Obviously, we will be focusing more on different application because that's what the sales application is at this point. And we'll not be focusing on the Canvas application or the portal application, but it's important that you have a knowledge of that, right? You can see on here, you've got things that talks about whether it's the user experience or the UX capabilities, highly customizable, design flexible. That's your Canvas application. Model-driven application is consistent and structure layout. It has its own pre-built components. Important to mention that. So those pre-built components, you'll be dragging and dropping them, right? You've got the flexibility to change, like for example, the size of an input, right, into like maybe a single column or a 2-column to cover a 2-column space and something like that. But you cannot do a huge amount of customization there, right? Okay, so let's move quickly. Now, what you're going to be doing in the next few weeks is really configuring the user interfaces of the sales application and doing a lot more, right? So, but we're starting more with the first thing we're going to be talking and delving in a bit more starting Saturday is configuring the sales application. So and when we talk about configuring the sales application, I want to just break that down for you now so you get a sense of what that is, so that when we actually go into it, it becomes easier. And once I'm done with this, done with the presentation, I will leave. I will leave the PowerPoints added to the Teams site, the file. I'll show you how. I'll add it, and you can get access to it and go over it just to prepare yourself and make sure you kind of do a bit more research, a bit more learning before Saturday, so you kind of you understand the lingo. What's Dataverse? What does that mean? What's the platform? What this model-driven application means? So you start to get your mind around that. So configuring means configuring the model-driven applications, which I said that's going to be the focus. And what does that mean to create it, to configure? It means we're going to be creating it and we're going to be configuring the forms. So the forms are where the input fields are. It's like, this is a customer name, customer site, customer email address and whatnot. And then, and then you also have the views, which is, it's not just the calculate, it's not what your inputs are getting, it's also visualizing those data, right? So you are going to be learning how to create and customize different views to view your customer data, right? So that's what we mean when I say that configuring of the interfaces of the sales application. Now, before you proceed to configuring a model-driven application, like I said before, you would need to have the Power Apps license. I've kind of alluded to it. You've seen how the Power Platform license looks like and what what are the one options that you could actually, your business can subscribe to. You are going to need a Dataverse environment. And remember, we talked about it. And now if you obviously sign up with Microsoft, you sign up using your email, your Office email. You've signed up for the free the developer's account. When you sign up for the developer's plan or developer's license, if you like, they automatically give you a lot of this capability for licensing for your Power App license, and you get Power Virtual Agent and all that kind of stuff, right? And ultimately, you also have to have a security role. Now, a security role is what gives you as an app designer the ability to actually customize and configure the model-driven application. So you need these three things: Power App license, Dataverse environment, and security role that grants you that access, right? Now, this is what Dataverse environment looks like when you're trying to create it. Yeah. But just to give you a quick summary of the Dataverse environment, we have quite a few of them. You have the production. That's when that's actually your working environment. If your business is live, and what I mean business is live, you mean you're interacting with the customers already. So you would typically create an environment specifically for that, where you will move your solution from your we use the term sandbox, and from your dev environment into your user acceptance testing environment, and subsequently you move that into your production environment, right? So you got those environments. Sorry, 1 second. You got those environments that you need to you can configure. So the production environment is exclusively for that. Secure environments, for deploying your data, and also application to end users, as explained. And you got your sandbox environment, which is really for testing and development as well. Some people don't, typically, there's certain limitation, of course, with your sandbox environment to be aware of, but that's not within the remit of this training. So we're going to skip that. Trial environment, you can have a trial environment. So when you do that sign up, like I was showing you earlier on, you will have a trial environment. And of course, you have the developer one, which I want you to have, right? Because it gives you free environment where you can actually play around with stuff. It gives you all the different licenses that you want, that you can use to play around for free. Of course, you have the default environment, which is the one that's default to your actual organization, right? So default to organization. Everyone can see the default environment unless it's been configured or hidden by the admin, platform admin person. Right, and then of course you have the Microsoft Dataverse for Teams, which is a specialized environment that's integrated with Dynamics with Microsoft Teams, and that particular one allows users to be able to build and deploy apps and automate them directly within the Teams interface. Right, obviously that's not part of this training, but it's good that you are aware of the different environments that you store your customer, your sales application data and stuff. Right. So I did mention configuring and building your model-driven application, and what it means is configuring your data model, right? So data model is saying this is the type of data. Define your data model. This is the type of data that we need. This is additional data I need as part of my sales, modeling. So if you want to design a model-driven application, of course, we're talking about the configuring and creating, views and tables and things of the like within your sales application. But underneath that, the different stages of really designing and building a model-driven app involves defining the data model, right, which is constructing those relationship, right? Defining your business logic, right? Your business processes as well as the logic, right? And then composing the apps, which means that selecting the different elements that makes the apps that you then you can then see, or your client can see, right? So, and of course, configuring security roles. So once you've composed the apps, you created your data model, you've created your forms and tables and blah blah blah. You create the business processes you need to be integrated as part of your checks and things of that nature, of validates data and things of that nature, or or follow a particular business process. And then next thing is you want to build the app, you want to compose the app. We'll go through those later on. And then of course, after that, once you build the app, you want to give users the ability to actually go and have access at varied levels. So someone might just be able to edit this specific, someone might be able to view a particular record, right? And wouldn't be able to edit it. So you can do that. And ultimately, you want to share your app. So that's the process, right? Which is part of the process of building and designing a model-driven application. Now, a model-driven application components is a well-designed model-driven application that consists of several components. So one would be things like your forms, it's metadata, it's data, it's the UI itself, that's the forms views, the logic element, the visualization elements. These are all part of the components, right? As I mentioned earlier on, you've got your data model, your business processes, security roles, visualization, dashboards. All of this forms part of your model-driven application, model-driven components, right? Now, I started by talking about so your model-driven app, your model-driven apps consist majorly of your data component, right? It consists of your UI components. It consists of your business logic components, visualization, and the like. So these are the things that we will be trying to configure in the next couple of and this coming weekend, right? So today I really just want to focus on giving you an introduction to Dynamics 365, getting you to start thinking about what it is, and then subsequently by Saturday we would dive into actual exciting demo-y stuff, right? Configuring, we start with configuring the sales app. So let's go back to the data components, right? So what are the data components? Data component consists of your table, right? So the table is obviously the container where all of your different things, like your it's what you use to essentially represent a particular record, right? That's what the table represents, a record, right? So customer contact, for example, is a table, right? A customer accounts is a table, and things like that. So and then you can create your own table, custom table that matches what else you want to use as part of your sales processes, right? Also, your data component consists of also your relationships. So your table can have different relationships, like your accounts, for example, which can represent a business account, can have many contacts related to that, so that you would be able to configure your relationship between your different, between your tables, right? So this table might have different relationship with that. And of course, the data component also includes columns, which are part of the, each tables will have its columns, and these are different data types. So it could be text, could be number, it could be date, and that kind of stuff, right? And these columns are used in the forms, they're used in the views, and they're used in in the searches, in the global searches. And of course, you also have another type of column, which is the choice, which is like, you've got multiple choice or multiple selectors as well, right? So you can see that you've got the data model, which I alluded to earlier on, which, option sets is just a choice, right? We obviously we changed it. The wordings have changed. The choice. From say if a customer is interested in buying a particular product, you can have a choice to say, is it premium service or service? Is it premium service? Is it basic service? That sort of stuff. You could use that. There's quite a few other things here, which we don't have time to go to today. But you've got talked about the fields. There are type of columns that are calculated. We call them calculated fields, right? There are also columns that are called roll-up fields, which means that if you want to know the number of contacts with a specific status, you can actually create what we refer to as a roll-up field, for example, in accounts, and that will do the calculation for you, albeit it calculates every like 12 hours or thereabout. Yeah. And of course, we talked about relationship. Now, moving quickly to the UI component. The UI component comprises of your application itself, right? So that's the fundamental components, right? That consist of the different parts that we're talking about, right? It consists of your table, consists of the pages, the UI page that you use to navigate to your actual forms and stuff. That's what and of course you have a sitemap, which is what you use to design your navigation. So I'm going to show us all of that once we get into that on Saturday. And of course you have the form, which is part of the UI. You can configure the form, you can create a new form. We're going to talk about the different types of forms that we have. And of course you have your view as well, and view basically it's basically a list of the rows for specific tables. So you configure that. What kind of what kind of columns do you want to be in your views? We're going to talk about that. You can add filters. You can sort what is visible in the views and things of that nature. And ultimately a custom page, which we're not going to be delving deeper in here as part of this training, but just think of it as having something that is unique and custom, where for example, a Canvas application, for example, you can design that and bring it into your forms essentially. Yeah. We talked about your business logic components, which talks in Dynamics 365 and in Power Platform, you have a few business logic components. One is the business process flow. Business process flow is essentially, just think of it as a business. When a business has an application process, right? So someone submits an application for a new bank account, or let's not even talk about it. Let's talk about sales process. Someone comes in, you have someone who's starting as a lead, right? This person is a lead, meaning lead means that in fact they start with a contract, right? And then they turn into a lead, and that means they potentially can make us money. So we have to go through the process of investigation, engaging them, qualifying that lead, and you have business process flow that requires all the engagement, that gives you the capability to interact with the customer, get all the necessary information you need to be able to determine whether they're qualified or not. So there's a process that would allow you to do that, and you can go through step by step. You'll see that when we delve into it. Also, workflows are just the ability to you typically obviously use a workflow designer. Now, this is obviously phased out. Workflow is being phased out. What is heavily emphasized now is the Power Automate, which is right at the bottom here, which is a cloud service that lets you create automated flows and between applications and services, and you can get notifications. So I think at this point it's like over 700 connectors. Just think of connectors as what can allow you to integrate or interact between Dynamics 365 and all the other the customer engagement application with all the third-party applications, right? And you can build your own custom connectors as well, and then leveraging the Power Automate. And remember, we talked about Power Automate as the tool that you could use to create automation. Now, there's also something called business rules. Business rules is a form of logic that is created inside the form, within the form context. But obviously, in the new Power Platform environment, you have your business rule context within the table, right? Within the table context, and where you can configure, for example, what rather than using actual JavaScript and low-level kind of code to apply certain business rules to specific fields. We're going to potentially look at those. And we talked about that part of the business logic is actions and global tables and things like that. We're not going to be delving much into actions, but think of actions as a process. An action is a process that can be bound to a table or can be bound to globally, can be designed as a global thing that it's every table can bound to. So for example, something happened, I can actually trigger this action so that I can then, if this action, think of it as event management capabilities. If as this actions are being triggered, I have something that is essentially processing those, right? Yeah, just that knowledge is good enough. Got the visualization, which you can have chats. You can see over here, you can have chats, you can have dashboards, you can have embedded application and Power BI applications. So configuring that and all that is obviously beyond the scope, but I will show you how it kind of that is configuring the Power BI. It's something that we'll touch on briefly, and of course, dashboards and chats. Right, so that really brings us to the end for today. We've obviously extended. We started a bit late. We've had a few people join. So, what we're going to be doing on Saturday will be configuring the sales app and getting into it. So that's what I want to. On Saturday, we're going to delve into how we would go and begin to configure the business application, the sales application, and we'll start by actually. So what I'd do is I would start by going through setting up the environment, creating the environment, installing the Trier application, so you can actually follow through as well. Yeah. So, any question for today? Any question from anyone? Feel free to unmute yourself, or sorry, raise your hand. Danish, go for it.
Yeah, I don't actually have access to the chat. I was just wondering, I might have joined late. I don't know if something is wrong with my Teams.
Yeah, I think you should. Anyone else don't have access to the chat?
Yeah, I don't either.
Yes.
I think it might be if you've joined as a guest.
And I think I am. Can anyone see the comment? The comment I just left. Oh yeah, sorry. Okay. Moderate question. Can you try that again now? Do you? I'm going to stop the recording. It's okay.